Hello! We are here to discuss about acquired non-immune anemia of increased destruction. So, first on the list is that acquired non-immune anemia of increased destruction is divided into three. So, here are the divisions. First is the acquired extracorpuscular defects or the fragmentation syndromes, which consist of microangiopathic hemolytic anemia, disseminated intravascular coagulation, thrombotic thrombocytic purpura, hemolytic uremic syndrome, abnormal blood vessel structure, mechanical injury to erythrocytes, and miscellaneous extracorpuscular mechanism of injury. So now we are going to discuss it one by one. Now, we go to MAHA. So MAHA is otherwise known as the microangiopathic hemolytic anemia. Now, first thing that we have to know is that MAHA is caused by the changes in blood vessels. Now, how does these changes happen? First is it could be associated to fibrin deposition. Fibrin deposition. Now, if you would ask me what is fibrin deposition, do you remember the coagulation cascade and everything that happens when there is blood vessel injury? So this is the very thing. When there is fibrin deposition, for example, this is your blood vessel. Then, there will be coagulation. Alam naman natin yung lahat. Coagulation. Here, for example, it has been injured. Then, of course, the platelets will adhere to the surface of the blood vessel. Then, here's what happens. Hemolysis happens because when the RBC will pass through this way, and if the fibrin deposition is very, very big, then the RBCs will force to pass in a very narrow area. So, ito lang yung area na dadaanan niya. So, when that happens, the RBCs will tend to change its shape, but then, paglabas niya, it may be sequestered because it is very masikip. Diba? When you enter something na masikip masyado, paglabas niyan, masisira na siya. Kaya nga guys, dapat hindi natin pilitin ang masyadong malaki na pumasok sa masyadong maliit na butas. Sa makagats lang. Anyways, next. Next is that MAHA can also be associated to severe systemic hypertension. Now, what is this severe systemic hypertension? We all know that the heart do yan, pangit, ito na lang, the heart pumps the blood throughout our body. So, if you have severe systemic hypertension, it means that your heart is palpating so fast. So, meaning, nagabit siya ng masyadong malakas at mabilis. And aside from that, diba, when you have hypertension, mabilis na nga ang pag-flow ng dugo mo sa katawan mo, it will result na yung RBCs mo masisira. Of course, this is what happens. If your heart will beat so fast, syempre, yung blood mo, bibilis din. When your blood will flow very, very fast, diba, it can cause damage to the RBCs in a way na same lang din sa sasakyan. When you drive too fast and you do not anticipate ba kung saan ka papunta, babangga ka. So once it will bump into a blood vessel or an organ, or pag bigla na lang siyang lumabas sa isang organ, di puputok na siya, resulting to fragmentation. So, next guys. MAHA can also be associated to vessel abnormalities. So, when you say vessel abnormalities, vessel, this doesn't pertain sa sasakyan, guys, ha? Vessel pertains to blood vessels. So, anong sinasabi natin na vessel abnormalities? This happens when your blood vessels is constricted for too long, or kung hindi rin, meron siyang angioma or meron siyang tumor, or pwede rin na yung blood vessel mo kay masyado ring open. So, in this case, ipagpalagay natin yung vessels mo merong tumor. Of course, when your blood vessels has a tumor, di ba? Tumor yan siya. Oh, di ba? Masikip na naman yung narrow na lalagyan, na dadaanan niya. So, ang mangyayari, the RBCs will tend to pass through this narrow area. Kaya, paglabas niya, pwede siyang masira. Twing, 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 twing. Oh, di ba? Boost love. So, yun ang nangyari. Kasi nga, may tumor yung blood vessels mo. Because your blood vessels are abnormal and it has tumor, the RBCs will try to pass through that area pero wala na siyang magawa. Kasi nga, masikip masyado and masyado nang na-deform yung ating RBCs na hindi na siya bumalik sa dati niyang form paglabas niya dito and nag-result siya. Kaya siya pumutok. Okay? So, there are disease that is associated, disease or conditions, hindi pala disease, condition dapat. Conditions associated to MAHA. So, these conditions are DIC or the disseminated intravascular coagulation. Malalaman natin yan further mamaya. Next is the TTP or yung thrombotic thrombocytopenic purpura. Malalaman din natin yan mamaya. Next is our HUS, HUS or the hemolytic uremic syndrome. So, malalaman din natin yan further mamaya. So, pupunta na tayo ngayon sa dumi-dumi na ng ating bond paper. Punta na tayo ngayon sa pathophysio. Pathophysio. Kung tinatay nyo ng pathophysio, guys, pathophysiology po yan. So, pathophysiology. So, yun na nga siya. Pabalik-balik na lang. MAHA happens when there is circulatory stress. So, circulatory stress happens when there is abnormal blood pressure or hypertension. Urong kundi para makita. Hypertension. Pwede rin yun siya mangyari dahil sa atheromas. Yun yung atheromas dahil yan siya sa atherosclerosis. Naalala nyo pa yun, guys, yung pag-deposit ang cholesterol nyo sa blood vessels. So, that is what happens. So, pag ma-deposit na yung cholesterol mo dyan sa blood vessels, ganun din ang mangyayari. Sisikip din yung daan mo. Kaya nga, diba, ilang beses kong inulit-ulit, huwag nyong pilitin ipasok ang malaki sa maliit na butas. Okay.
am going to report about miscellaneous extracorpuscular mechanism of injury. So first, there are three belongs or under in miscellaneous extracorpuscular mechanism of injury. So first is the infections and infestation. So first, guys, before we will proceed, what is infection? So, sasabihin ko na lang, hindi ko na lang isusulat. So, infection. Infection is a process in which bacteria, viruses, fungi, or other organisms enter the body and attach to cells and multiply. So, diba? Yun daw. Pag either daw doon sa tatlo is magka-enter sa ating body, so, mag-attach sila sa ating mga cells at mag-multiply sila, then mag-cause sila ng infections, which sometimes infections can lead to hemolysis. So, then, ano naman yung infestations? Infestations refers to the states of being invaded or overrun by pest or parasite. It can also refers to the actual organism or on within a host. So first, so in infections and infestation is ang hemolysis daw can occur as a complication of exposure to a variety of infectious agents. Like malaria. Malaria is, diba, pag a person is having a malaria, magkakaroon ng hemolysis yung patients. So, in malaria, either caused by any of the 4 species of Plasmodium. So, diba, alam naman natin kung ano yung 4 species ng Plasmodium. So, ito. So, yung 4 species ng Plasmodium is yung Plasmodium vivax, ovale, malariae, at saka falciparum. So, these 4 species daw is either of this is maka-infect sa human, which results in hemolytic process initiated by direct invasion of erythrocytes by the parasite. So, yun daw. Pag na-infect ka daw ng either sa 4 na species ng Plasmodium na ito, is magkakaroon ka ng malaria, in which na magkakaroon ka ng hemolysis. Prior to the direct invasions of erythrocytes by the parasites. So, pag meron ng naka-enter na parasite sa body mo, so, invade nila directly yung erythrocyte. Kasi parang yun talaga yung para makasurvive sila at makamultiply sila. So, doon sila mag-i-invade. So, pag naka-invade sila sa ating erythrocyte, so, syempre is magkakaroon ng infection. So, yung mga erythrocyte natin is masisira. Then, yung mga cells na yon is masisira siya, so marirelease yung hemoglobin. Yun yung kung ma-remember nyo yung sa para is yung patients daw na merong malaria is ang urine daw is black. It's because of the hemolysis, kasi yung hemoglobin is released. Then, next, next is the second miscellaneous extracorpuscular mechanism of injury is the exposure to chemicals and toxins. Paano? Sa exposure to chemicals and toxins. So, dito, sa exposure, so, So, exposure to chemicals and toxin is yung hemolytic anemias also have been reported as complications of spider bites, bee stings, and snake venom. So, yun sila yung mga factor na pag na-expose ka doon or either na kagat ka ng bee or ng snake. So, di ba, meron silang i-release na toxins, which is like in bee sting, di ba, as remember niyo sa immune sero natin, na yung kakaroon ka ng allergy or merong allergic reactions. So, like sa snake or nakagat ka ng snake, so dahil dun sa toxin na i-release, so magkakaroon ng hemolysis or ng mga corpuscular mechanism of injury. So, sa chemicals naman is yung ang probable causes of this pag na-expose ka sa chemicals is yung mga, include dito yung mga oxidizing compounds in water supply used for bacterial purification, additional contaminants in the water, such as nitrate or copper, pero marami pa naman mga possible. Then, next, or the third one is the thermal injury. O, paano? Ano naman yun sa thermal injury? So, sa thermal injury, it's because mature yung erythrocytes na are diba, yung mga mature erythrocytes are extremely fragile and sensitive to changes in osmotic pressures and mechanical injuries. So, pag merong exposure to elevated temperatures caused by burns, so mag-result siya in fragmentations and membrane loss of the red cells. So, paano sa burns? So, diba, as what I have said, it results in fragmentations and membrane loss of RBC kasi nga sensitive sila sa sa mga changes in osmotic pressure. So, diba, sa osmotic pressure, halimbawa, diba, like, pag ang RBC, pag ilagay mo siya, bawa dun sa pag, di ba, merong so, excessive ang temperature. So, yun nga, possible talaga na masisira yung RBC natin, usually yung membrane. So, madadamage siya. Usually na dito sa pag merong burns, yung mga peripheral blood film or yung appearance nila is schistocyte. So, schistocytes and microspherocytes sa schistocytes or tinatawag na helmet cells o paulit-ulit na lang. So, alam naman natin kung ano yun sila. So, ito, microspherocytes. So, ano yung microspherocytes? Ano yung appearance niya? Ang microspherocyte is para siyang kung di mo talaga siya mapapansin is parang siyang normal na RBC. So, pero ang pinagkaiba na sa normal RBC? So, dapat mapagmasid kasi yung normal RBC is meron pa siyang central pallor. Ito. Pero, yung mga microspherocyte is wala na silang central pallor. Paano nawala yung central pallor? Kasi nga, diba, sa burns or exposure sa excessive temperature, kasi sensitive naman yung mga RBCs natin. So, kaya ayun, nagkaroon ng result siya ng fragmentations or membrane loss. So, ito yung tatlo ang under kay miscellaneous extracorpuscular mechanisms of injury. The infections and infestations, exposure to chemicals and toxins, and thermal injury. Thanks. Now, I am reporting about acquired intracorpuscular defects. So, acquired intracorpuscular defects are those anemias associated with such disease states as nutritional deficiencies, abnormalities in plasma constituents, severe liver disease, and certain acquired secondary enzymopathies. So, all of these have a hemolytic component which results from defective erythropoiesis and abnormal environments to which the erythrocytes are exposed. So, in acquired intracorpuscular defects, this four is these four those acquired intracorpuscular defects is those anemias associated with such disease like these four. First, in nutritional deficiencies, kasali dito yung iron deficiencies. Sulat ko yung iron and folate deficiencies. So, paano tayo nagkakaroon ng iron and folate deficiencies? So, first is iron. So, pag kulang tayo or hindi tayo kumakain ng foods which rich in iron like red meat, egg yolk, dried fruit, beans, liver. So, it's possible that magkakaroon tayo ng iron deficiencies. So, the second is the folate. Folate is such as foods like garbanzo beans, asparagus, citrus fruit juices, peanuts, and also liver. So, it is important that hindi naman araw-araw but kailangan natin na kumain those foods rich in iron and folate so that hindi tayo magkakaroon ng iron and folate deficiencies. Para hindi din tayo magkaroon ng nutritional deficiencies in our bodies. The next is the abnormalities in plasma constituents. So, in the abnormalities in plasma constituents is possible na magkakaroon tayo ng Waldenstrom's macroglobulinemia. So, Waldenstrom's macroglobulinemia and the second is the multiple myeloma. So, ano tong Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia? So, ang Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia, also known as lymphocytic lymphoma. So, tinatawag rin siyang lymphocytic lymphoma. So, wait lang guys. Then, multiple myeloma, which is, so, alam naman natin, di ba, kung ano yung multiple myeloma. So, hindi ko na kailangang isulat. Sabihin ko na lang. So, multiple myeloma is a malignant plasma cell tumor of the bone marrow that destroys the bone tissues. So, third one is a severe liver disease. So, and the last is certain acquired secondary enzymopathies. So, enzymopathies is an inborn enzymopathies. Enzymopathies is an inborn errors of metabolism comprises a large class of genetic diseases involving disorders of metabolism. So, yun ang ibig sabihin ng enzymopathies. So, guys, ito yung apat ang na-under sa acquired intracorpuscular defects. So, hindi ko masasagot or makakomplement kung meron mga kayong tatanong kasi syempre, video report. So, sorry guys, ito lang yung report ko.